back to the Mind Goals podcast, hosted by yours truly, Siobhan Higgins, sports psychology consultant and professional soccer player. Last week, we concluded the Hungarian saga and all my endeavors, along with some of my teammates' endeavors and their point of view. This week, I'm really excited to have special guest Taryn Siegele on so we can cover a little bit of Scandinavian culture in soccer in Iceland. Welcome, Taryn.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm so happy to have you.
Thank you.
I wanted to first tell everyone how we know each other.
Yeah.
We knew each other in high school.
I was gonna say, I don't even know when the first time we I guess officially met, but yeah, you played at our rival. I was at Cinco 07. You were at our rival high school.
Yeah. I vividly remember meeting you actually because you were the new girl in town. They're this pretty, there's triplets. Yeah, I met you in the Cinco school hallway and during a basketball game, and I was like, okay, this is a model.
Oh my God, stop! That's so funny. I forget. Yeah, we moved back that summer. So
you guys grew up here and then moved away?
Yeah, we were born in Connecticut, and then we moved down to Houston when we were 6 months old. Okay. And just because my dad's job, we just moved around a lot. I lived in New Orleans for a little bit, San Francisco. But yeah, for high school, we moved from California back to Houston. So
that is a lot.
Yeah.
Wow. Very cool places.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was a great experience. I had my siblings all the time, and it was never really hard because I had soccer too, and soccer tryouts were always in the summer. So it was a really easy transition for me, but
cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad to dive into some more diverse areas. I went to California once, and I've been to Connecticut also once.
Yeah.
But cool. I come more from an international background, back and forth, but then I stayed put in Texas for a while until I played
abroad.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to start with a few questions for you. Mm-hmm. So Taryn played professionally in Scandinavia and in Iceland, and I have not played there aside from doing a trial in Sweden, which I'll dive into later when we get on the Sweden topic. Mm-hmm. But in terms for the audience to know, did you play club as a youth?
So I did. I played club growing up, and then when I moved back to Houston for high school, my parents were really strict on grades, and they didn't want they didn't want me doing club and trying to keep up with grades, just because even in junior high, not that it was an issue, but you have to be very disciplined, and now I was trying out for the high school soccer team, so they're there's no way we're having you do all three. And then I also had my two other siblings, I'm a triplet, and I had two other siblings my same age that are also in extracurricular activities. So it's it's not fair to put all that time and effort into just one kid, which I understood. But so I only played high school soccer in high school. But I got really lucky because my high school soccer coach, in my opinion, was amazing. And growing up, I was always a right back. Mm-hmm. And then in high school, I got switched to forward, and I hated it.
Really?
Yes, I hated it. I almost quit.
Oh my gosh.
My freshman, I don't think anybody knows. My freshman year, I came downstairs to my mom, and I was I'm done. I hate playing forward. I want to get back, switch back to right back.
Oh my God.
My coach won't let me. I'm gonna quit. And my mom was just finish out the season, whatever. And then it obviously ended up working out great, and I ended up loving that position later on. But I got really lucky because my high school coach was a club coach, so
he knew what he was doing.
He knew what he was doing. He knew what he was talking about, and a lot of the girls also played club. So I feel people from not Texas, they don't understand how competitive high school soccer really was.
Yeah.
So I got a really good experience playing high school soccer.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I feel that's not common. Mm-hmm. And so good for you because, I feel Texas schools are very competitive. And you're right, the majority of them play club, or it's just a competitive atmosphere, especially the school you were at. It's really good and well known. So that's awesome. But I wanted to mention that or ask because for some people, they think that there's only one way you can play, and you showed that it's not. So that's really cool.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. It's definitely a lot harder, I will say, but again, was worth it. And I also didn't know back then, if you wanted to play college, you should, be on a club team. Like I was like, oh, like it will all work out how it's supposed to work, you know, like
Yeah.
so it ended up all working out fine. But yeah, I definitely think like it's definitely possible. Like if you really put your mind to it, like literally, I truly believe like anything is possible. But it definitely made it harder. I will say that.
Yeah, it was a barrier for sure. I was going to mention because I'm only similar in the aspect of I didn't grow up thinking I want to play pro. I want to make it here. And I never thought that till my final years of college. And so I was wondering if that was the same for you.
Kind of. I guess like growing up as like a kid, I was like, oh, it'd be cool to like play pro, but it wasn't really like something that I was like, oh, I'm gonna work hard every day and like do that at like age like 10. You know what I mean? Like I didn't really start thinking about it until I didn't start thinking about college soccer probably till like my junior year of high school, where it was like, oh, like I only have one more year left. Like I have several of my friends are all committed to, you know, schools all around Texas and wherever else. And I was like, oh, like I didn't even know where I was going to go. Like I didn't know what I wanted to study. I just knew I wanted to play soccer, but I just didn't know like where. So that's kind of when I started to think of like college soccer. And then kind of similar to you, like you said about professionally, like once college soccer was kind of like around the end, I was thinking about like, well, do I want to continue to play? And like, what does that really look like? Because I mean, in college, I was like, oh, I would love to play in the NWSL, but I did not have the minutes. Like I had no film. I did not have like wasn't a starter, wasn't like playing. I think like the max I ever played was like maybe 25 minutes. Like I was not playing a lot. And so I was like, okay, that's obviously unrealistic. So what are like my next options? And it wasn't until like I came home and started training with TTI where that kind of like came into like my mind about possibly going abroad. And because I don't know about you, but I never heard of people going abroad. It wasn't like very talked about or anything like that. So it wasn't really until I was back home where I was like, oh, okay, like maybe I'll think about it. And then it just kind of happens. But yeah, it wasn't like something that I always was like, oh, I'm going to grow up and do this, you know, like I never had that. I kind of just like flew by the seat of my pants for a while.
Just winging it. Just maybe one day.
Just winging life. Yeah.
That's a good way to do it too. Yeah. I mean, it alleviates any stress that you could have had if you put a lot of pressure on yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I think so too. And I mean, I obviously think it's great to have a plan, but just for me, like I just like took it, I guess, in stages. Like I knew in high school I wanted to play college soccer. So it was like, okay, what does that look like for me? Like, how do I do that? Okay, I'm going to go try out. I didn't make it the first time. I just kept pestering the hell out of them. Like my coach literally said in an interview that he was so annoyed with me because I would show up like unannounced, and because they like, again, they knew I didn't play club.
Wait, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I do want to
getting ahead of myself.
No, you're not. I just wanted to ask the question but you're diving into it is because could you tell us where you went to school? Like, so where you went to college and then you were a walk-on, correct? Yeah. Could you tell us about that? I feel like you're like a 12th man but in Arizona.
So I went to University of Arizona. And like, I decided that super randomly. Nobody from my high school went there. Like, I feel like, I mean, maybe it's a little more common now, but like at the time that I went, like it was very unheard of. Like people were like, huh? Like, where are you going? Yeah. And so my other siblings had already committed to different schools and I was just like very lost. I was like, should I go to like LSU with my sister? Should I go to Boulder with my brother? Or should I like stay in Texas? Like I just was like, didn't know where to go. So I probably applied to like 15 different colleges.
Oh
just
my gosh.
Like, I don't know where I'm going to go. And I knew I wasn't going to get a scholarship or like recruited. So I was like, okay, like the world is my oyster. Like, where do I want to go? Like, because say I don't make it, like I want to go somewhere that I'm like, I can actually enjoy the school and they have a good, you know, like academics and things like that. So I decided on University of Arizona because they had a really good business school. And so like, that's kind of like the route I was going to take if soccer didn't work out. And so, yeah, my senior year of high school, my assistant coach was actually, or used to play at University of Arizona. And so she was kind of helping me and like sending them film. But again, like they never told me this, just my opinion. I felt like they probably were like, okay, like high school girl, you know, doesn't play club, like whatever, kind of like we have better things to do or like, you know, better things to focus on. Which I didn't take personally because I was like, I mean, if the like roles were reversed, I get it. Yeah. And so I was in contact with them over the summer, like right before going into freshman year of college. And they kind of were like not really answering me. I was like, can I try out? Like, do you guys have tryouts? Like, how does this work? And they're kind of like, yeah, like we have a camp. But like they never told me like the specific dates or anything. So just kind of like me like
You're
chasing.
Hope she doesn't come.
No, I literally think they were like, don't tell her, you know, because it was like me being like, oh, so like when is it? And like ghost. And I'm like, okay, like so like when should I come? You know?
Oh no.
I know. And I get it too. Again, like they were trying to like prepare with the team that they had, and like they had their summer camp, like they had to run it, all that stuff. So I get it. Like I was not on the priority list, but so I went in the summer like for my orientation to like pick my classes and stuff. And I met with the assistant coach, and he pretty much was like, yeah, like you missed camp, so like I don't really know kind of what you want to do, like, you know, kind of just like letting me down easy, I guess. And I was like frustrated because I was more than willing to come. I just didn't know the dates. So it was just a very frustrating process, but like whatever, like I have to go register for classes. I can't worry about this right now. So he was like, look, if you really want to come back, we'll like reevaluate at the beginning of the spring. And I was like, sure, let's do it. And so I actually tried. So we had a club team too at Arizona.
Okay, cool.
And I tried to try out for them, but I guess I missed the tryouts for them too.
Dude, what are you doing during this time?
I literally was like, how am I missing all these tryouts? Like, this is insane. But it ended up working out because I like rushed my freshman year and like joined the sorority scene or whatever. So like I got a little taste of that, which was really fun. And like how I made my like first friends in college, and I still talk to them today. Like they're great. But yeah, like it just was like one thing after the other. And so I just was like, well, I guess I'll just run and work out like to the best of my ability. And like we had like a really sketchy soccer field like 10 minutes away from my house. I was like, I'm just gonna train there and like do my best. And I just like pestered them all that fall, like when are tryouts, like what's the dates, like how long are tryouts, like what is it, multiple days, is it one day? And so I just kept pestering them. And so finally he like sent me back the dates, and it was like a 1-day tryout. I tried out with 2 other girls. So the 3 of us went. It was a 1-day tryout. We did the fitness test. I actually got strep the week before.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was so mad. Oh yeah, sorry.
No, I was going to ask, what was the fitness test that you guys had to do?
So at that time, it's called it's like a 300-yard shuttle. So it's there and back, but it's in 25-yard increments. Okay. And you have to get it in 62 seconds, and you do that twice or something like that. Okay. That's what it was then. Once I got on the team, it ended up being 5. Yeah. So I was like, what the hell? But so it wasn't that bad, but I was just so frustrated because I had literally worked so hard. Like I was making it in like 50 seconds when I was working out. Like I was flying by. Yeah. And then so I lived in the dorms, and I was in a like communal bathroom situation. Yes. And so my hallmate, she had strep. And every time she like was sick, she would get everybody else sick. And I was like, Audrey, like stay in your room, stay locked in, like don't come in my room, don't come. Like, of course I got sick because we have communal bathrooms, and I was so upset because it's the week before. There's no way I could work out. Like I'm a mental player, so if I know I'm not like prepared, I like can't be like, okay, brush it off. Like you're just gonna have to do the best you can do. Like I'm like panicked, you know. Okay. So I passed the first like shuttle, and then the second shuttle I was like I think 10 seconds off or something. Which I was so just pissed off about, because again, like I had been working so hard and easily like passing that test. So I think that going into the like later on the day was like the tryout for like on the field, like you're playing with the rest of the team. I think going into that tryout I already was like I didn't make the second like fitness test, like what am I this looks bad, you know, like this is embarrassing. So I did okay that first day. I went back into the office, and the head coach pretty much was like, yeah, no. And I was like, please, like give me another chance, like 1 day's not enough, like give me another day. Yeah. And so he gave me another day, and I did a lot better that second day, but it's still, he just was like, yeah, like I don't have the time or capacity to like add you onto the team. Hindsight, I think there was a lot of drama that was happening behind the scenes that like I didn't know. This is what I've been told. I don't really know. Okay. Because I wasn't on the team at the time, but I think that was playing a big factor into it. I also didn't play well, so I don't think it was that big of a factor. I think it was like I think his exact words was like, you didn't perform better than anybody that I already have. So it was like,
okay,
you know, what's
kind of fair.
Yeah, which is fair. I was like, okay.
Do you feel like that was a fair evaluation as well?
Yeah, I do. Like, okay. I mean, I scored a couple goals and I did okay. But I think that first day just like really set me back. Like the second day, much better. Like I just was like, okay, we're just gonna have to like go for it. You got an extra day. Like the other two girls didn't. I was like make like do with the time that you have.
Yeah.
But again, like that first day, I think it was just like, yeah, I don't know, you know, like, I don't know. Anyway, so then I just was like, all right, like, I know I can be on this team. Like, when are your next tryouts, pretty much? And so he just was like, we'll reevaluate. So that was the spring of my freshman year. He said, we'll reevaluate in the summer when I have time. I get home, it's summer break. I'm messaging him. Crickets. Like, I'm not hearing anything back. I know the camp is soon. Don't know when the camp is though. Don't go. Then I go into the fall semester. I get back at school. I just like show up to his office like,
me again.
What's happening? Yeah, like, hey, bestie. Like, good to see you.
Like, I thought you transferred shit.
Yeah, no. He was like, he probably was like, oh, she'll leave me alone. But like, I was like, no. Like, I know I can play on this team.
Good.
And so... I just kept pestering him. The fall semester came along and he pretty much was like, look, I can't do this right now. Like, we'll have to do it again in the spring. And I was like, okay, don't care. That's fine. And then I did try out for the club team my sophomore year of the fall. And I made that. And I think that really helped me like really stay in shape and like get my skills sharpened. And because they were pretty good. Like they were good soccer girls.
Get game time too. Get your cardio up. Touches on the ball, of course.
Yeah, get your confidence up too. And so then that whole fall semester, like he didn't set a time, like a date or time. So like I would literally just pester him. Like I left them both voicemails. Dang. I would email them, text them. I would show up to their offices unannounced. Like I just didn't care. Like I was like, I have nothing to, you've already said no to me.
Do you get a restraining order?
No, literally. Like they are so, I already know. They were so annoyed. He was like, yeah, in an interview, he was like, she would not stop pestering me. Like but she just
positively kind of? Like after the fact? Okay, good.
He was saying it positively. But just like, it was just funny because they were like, who is this girl? And I'm like, no, I will show up. Like, I don't care. You already told me no. The worst that could happen already happened.
Exactly.
So like, I literally have nothing to lose. Like, you have to at least tell me no to the tryout or say yes. And so my second tryout was the spring of my sophomore year and it was a 2-week tryout and it was way more intense. Yeah. Okay. And I did.
They're like, she'll never get past this one. Well, this is a way to weed him out.
Yes. And we did fitness testing and we did like strength training with the conditioning coach and strength conditioning coach. Which I, at that time, had never lifted. I mean, we lifted a little bit in college. I mean, in high school, but like
I never lifted in high school. No.
We did a little bit with like my high school coach, but like nothing compared to like what I had experienced. Like it was intense. I was literally crying after it. Like I'd be like, oh no, I'm fine. Literally limping to like the classes. I was dying. It was terrible.
I remember because my freshman year I went to a different school, but those gym sessions were no joke. No. I think I gained 10 pounds of muscle. When I got back home, my PT, because I was injured and came back, he was like, damn, where did you get those? I was like, my traps apparently. I'm like, dude, I have like a minimum weight I have to be picking up. Yes. And I can't look like a little bitch around these players. I'm a freshman.
That's what I felt too. I was like, I have to like really prove myself because all the girls were like, who's this girl? Like she thinks she can walk on this team, you know? And I remember we had to do pull-ups and I literally could only do one. And I was like I was in tears, like, oh my God, they probably are like, this girl's a loser. And we had to do dips. And I could not do a dip, like could not do a single dip.
Like what do you mean dip?
Like you put your,
like up and
like literally just full body weight. Yeah. Could not do it. Like could not do one. And so I was like, this is so embarrassing, but like, we're just going to keep like looking forward, like tunnel vision, don't make eye contact. Like literally that was me.
You would be in my SpongeBob group in the Hunger.
Yes, I probably would have. Like literally it would have been me. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God. Anyway, so I did that for 2 weeks and I passed all the fitness tests, which was great. And then, he kind of like just pulled me into his office after the 2-week trial and was like, okay, like, we'll see how the rest of the spring goes, but like this doesn't guarantee that you have a spot in the fall. I was like, that's all I needed. Don't care. So I got all the gear. I got the training schedule.
Yeah, we're in.
Yeah, we're in. And then I did really good that spring semester, and then like made the team.
That's awesome. That is so exciting.
Yeah, it was really exciting.
Resiliency. No, I'm like really happy for you again. Yeah. That's such a good story, seriously, because people think that it's not possible. And I honestly wanted to go to Oklahoma University, and I didn't like get scouted for them. I made the efforts to connect with them, but they just weren't recruiting, or their class was cut off. And I thought I would rather go somewhere that's for sure I have a scholarship with. But in retrospect, if I had known, I could have walked on, which I probably could have. That's where I would have liked to go. And so I feel like, looking back, I would have advised someone to go to a school that you genuinely want to go to, that doesn't have to do with the sport, and then try to walk on, or then try to get better.
I totally agree. And I also I realized the fact that I was very fortunate that I didn't need a scholarship. I had an academic one, but my parents were they paid for my college, and I know that's not the case that's not a lot of the case of you know what I mean? So I got lucky that I was that wasn't really an issue, where I know as some people they have to get a scholarship in some shape or form.
Yes, correct.
So but I got really lucky that my parents were go ahead if that's what you want to do, sure. But,
awesome.
Yeah, so it was good. I look back on it, and I'm I'm really happy that I did that, because I don't know if I would do that today. It was a lot, and it was a great experience, and I definitely grew so much as a person. And I think if and when I have kids, I can kind of direct them, and tell them my story, and look, if that's what you really want to do, just do it. Go and do everything you can. Don't, just because somebody says no doesn't mean that that's the final answer,
Yep, exactly.
So.
I've heard before a nice little quote, but it's no doesn't mean no now. It just means, no doesn't mean no forever. It just means no now.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yeah. That's perfect. I totally agree with that. And not even just in soccer, but in every aspect of your life. You're going to get told no at some point in your life. And it might be the end of the world, that was your dream, but it doesn't mean no forever.
Exactly.
I totally agree with that. I think that's great.
Yeah. If anything, I know it sucks, and maybe sulk for a second or two, but then use that as motivation to kind of be okay, I can do this, or how can I do it differently, or how can we actually achieve it?
Yeah, I totally agree. I remember the first time when I missed the camp, I cried after, because I was just so frustrated. And then I was all right, well, moving on. Yeah. All right, cool. I gotta go sign up for classes.
Exactly.
We'll figure it out as we go. But yeah.
So next question is you played in 3 countries. What was the order of them? And then could you, whichever one you want to talk about first, we can dive into it.
Okay, cool. So after college, I went to Sweden, and then came home after that. And I think that's right when COVID hit. Yeah. And so it was kind of a struggle to get on another team. A lot of teams were saying no. I was actually supposed to go to another team in Sweden, or try out for another team in Sweden, and then they had to cancel all of that just because of COVID and everything. And so I stayed home. I think it was a year, and just worked. And then so after that, when they started to open up the borders again, I went to Iceland for about a year, maybe a little less than that, and which was a great experience. If you've never been to Iceland, I 100% recommend going. It was never on my radar, but it was, that was a great experience.
Oh, I was very close to going to Iceland. I think it was in 2020, or it was the fall of 2020. No, yes, it was. I'm remembering. It was, and I didn't go because it was only going to be 2-3 months. And I'm I don't know if this is worth my while right now. It's the fall, but I had done a trial in Sweden in January 2020 before shit hit the fan, and that was a whole month, but I didn't make that, and I went to Scotland, and then after Scotland, then COVID hit, and then I went home.
So everything shut down. So
but tell me about Iceland.
Yeah, Iceland was amazing. So I went there right after COVID hit. I actually so you have to do a COVID test before, I think it was 72 hours before you get on the plane.
Yeah.
So I did mine. I think I did mine a little bit too early. And so it was negative. And I was oh, okay, I'll just do it tomorrow. No big deal. It came out positive.
You're kidding.
Yeah. Literally.
Did you feel sick?
No, I had no symptoms. I was completely fine. I felt a little bit tired, but just I thought it was allergies. I get bad allergies, whatever. And so, but I didn't have a runny nose, no sore throat. I didn't lose any like senses or anything like that. And so, yeah, it was like, so I got that test and it came back positive. And I was like, yeah, I'm like, wait, what? I was like, oh my God, they gave me a false positive. Like, what am I going to do? Like, that's crazy. Yeah. So I like went to like 3 other places and like all of them came back positive.
Oh,
and like,
shoot.
I remember my flight was at like 6 a.m. the next day, and at like 3 a.m. the like final like tests came in and it was like, yeah, you're positive. I just bawled. Like I was like, there goes my contract. Like, because
was there a hard cutoff? Or you were just kind of panicking in that moment?
I was just panicking at that point.
Would you say that you're like, are you a worry wart? Or like, do you
I normally
panic?
am not, but like, I'm not, I feel like I'm pretty good. Like, oh, go with the flow. But once something happens, I'm like, panic. Like, you know what I mean?
Especially
like,
when you're about to move across the world and then it's not happening. And okay.
And especially because like,
I have a similar situation.
Yeah. Like, and COVID was kind of unpredictable, and like we didn't really know, like, you know what I mean? It wasn't like, oh, you'll just find another team. It's like, who knows? Like, is another team gonna take me with the whole COVID stuff? Like, I have no clue. And so I was just bawled, and I like called my agent. He was like, all right, like, I'll call the team. Like, don't panic, we'll be fine. Everything ended up working out. I went like a month later, or like a couple weeks later, however long it was.
Okay, but why so? Oh, until you were negative.
Well, so they told me don't take another test because if you take another test, it's like something like even if you don't have it, like it still can come out positive or something like that.
Okay.
And so I was like, well, how do I get on the plane? And they're like, just take a test that says that you have COVID, but it's like a different test that says like you have the antibodies or whatever.
Okay, yeah. That you've had it, and so you have
a little bit of defense or whatever. And so I went and something.
Immunity.
Yeah, something like that. I was like, whatever I have to take, I will take. I don't care. Like, just tell me what I have to do. And so I went, and I remember the TSA guy was like pissed at me from when I landed in Iceland. Like, he was like, you tested positive like 10 days ago and you're on a plane. I was like, my doctor said I could do it. Like, I double checked.
Like, you American.
Yeah. Like he was like, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be stuck here. Like, they're not going to let me in. Like, I was like, am I going to go on an 8-hour like flight back home? Like, I had no clue. And then eventually he let me in, and it was fine. But yeah, it was like a crazy entrance into Iceland. And like, I don't know if this is how your experiences were, but like mine, it was like as soon as you got off the plane, like, okay, you're going to practice. Like, and I would be like, oh, I'm
jet lagged.
I haven't eaten.
Yep.
I haven't drinking anything. I am dead tired. And so I got off the plane, went straight to practice. It was fine. Like, I think it was like 6v6 at the time because I think it was like a break. So some of the girls weren't there. Yeah. So it was like, it was fine. But yeah, I was exhausted.
Yeah. And to answer your question, that has happened to me before. As soon as I landed, and I didn't expect it. I was thinking like 1-2 days recovery. Right. Because you're going across the, I mean, for me, I've been, like further away, especially in Scandinavia. That is like, I don't know the time zone right now. Maybe it's 9 hours ahead, 8.
I think
but the day of travel is just exhausting.
And it's a lot of stress because you don't like are your bags going to be like when I went to Sweden, like my bags weren't there. So I went to practice in my slippers. No. Like, I was like, and I didn't bring my cleats either. So my coach was like, why didn't you have your cleats on? I was like, I don't know. I'm like, I'm new to this. I don't know. Like, I literally showed up in my slippers in a bun and they're like, who is this girl? Like, you know, but you don't know. Like, I was expecting to have at least like a day, if not 2, to like rest.
When I landed in Sweden for my trial, the coach told me that I was going to practice the next day. So I'm like, fine. But my flight got delayed. So I missed a flight. So I missed the connecting flight. So I got there so much later. And I also flew into Norway, then drove down to Sweden. And then they expected me to be at training, which I went. And I was like, cool, at least I have an excuse in case I'm not performing because I'm jet lagged.
Yes. That's how I was. So, I mean, it was still fine. But yeah, like I loved my coach in Iceland. He was actually Bulgarian. Oh, cool. And he just was like amazing. Yeah, I loved him. I loved my team. The girl that went with me, her name's Bree, and she like we still keep in contact.
I follow her.
Yeah, I just love her. We like that is like a lifelong friend. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, Iceland was a great experience. Like, I mean, I didn't have any like issues with the coach or the team. We had more issues with like the board. Like I would say my experience abroad is not so much with the coaching, besides Norway, it's more like with the board. Like,
okay. You mean like the organization and how they handle things?
How they handle things.
Okay, so in terms of living situation and payments and such?
For Iceland, it was fine. Like living situation, fine. Payment, I got paid on time. Never had an issue with that. It was more of like, so the head of the board or the organization was like also on the men's team. So like all of the money. He was a player? Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Which, so all of the money like was allocated to the men's team because he's the head of it. And so Bree and I would like call it out because we'd be like, this is not okay. Like, this is not normal. Like, I understand that that's your priority, but like you have a whole women's team who's a higher rank than the men's team. Like, you're in a league above them.
Interesting. Wait. So my question is, what indicated that they were getting more money?
So we traveled all across Iceland and like the girls team like had to drive themselves. And so the men's team would fly.
What?
Yeah. The men's team would fly. I remember
like individually in cars or in vans, like team vans?
No, we were in cars. Wow. We didn't even have team vans. Yeah, it was in cars.
Okay, yeah, that's messed up.
It was in cars.
Love that for us.
Yeah. And then what else? Oh, so the men's team got like really nice, brand new like Nike jerseys, kits, all the practice stuff, like so nice. And I remember they were trying to like tell us like, oh, we got like the girls, like y'all, we got y'all's uniform. It was like the cheap, like, I don't know what brand it was. It was their local brand. Like literally our first game, our numbers were peeling off. Like my last name was like halfway off at the end of the game. Like I was like, you guys have to be kidding. Like, but they try to sell us like this sweet dream of like, oh, we just got y'all new stuff too. Like, don't you worry.
That's
and it's like,
up.
But you guys have the Nike stuff and we have the local stuff that's peeling off our backs as we're playing. Like just things like that. It honestly wasn't, I guess I shouldn't say the board. It was just that one head of the board that was like, I just thought that was really unfair. Yeah. And like, even like the practicing, like we had to fight to like practice on our main field.
Oh yes. Okay. I think I remember talking to you around this time and we were talking about things like how the style of play was, but you did mention that the fields or was it that the men got priority over it? And like, was there one field? Did you guys have a stadium?
Yeah, we didn't have a stadium.
Okay.
Iceland is very like nature. So like it was like surrounded by like rocks. Like it was a really cool stadium, but it wasn't like you wouldn't, I don't even know if there were benches. Like it was just like
a stand, like kind of like going out to the field over here. Okay.
Yes. And like just very like, it was on this beautiful hill. The ocean was right there. Like it was a very beautiful field. It just wasn't like stadium like.
Okay.
But so we had that was like our main pitch. And then we had on like a lower level was like the practice pitch, which was terrible. Like I hated that damn field.
Ooh, but why'd you hate it?
It just was super like holes everywhere. Grass, it wasn't taken care of. It was grass. Yeah. Both were grass.
Okay.
But just like holes were everywhere. There weren't really any lines. Like it just kind of was like a mess of a field. Anyway, so when we first got there, like we were only allowed to practice on that field and the men were practicing on the main field. And so my roommate and I were like, that's not a thing. Like we're not doing that. And that's why I also love my coach, because he fought hard for us. Like he was the one that was like, this is unacceptable. And it feels good when like, yes, obviously the girls know it's unacceptable, but it's like, it feels great when like somebody of authority is like, no, this is really unacceptable.
Yeah. And they're advocating for you as well.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And we weren't asking for much. Like I'm not asking for, I don't even know what, like top of the line, but like just fairness, like just be fair.
Mm-hmm. Especially with like minimal standards, you know, like equipment or field conditions or I don't know, just treatment.
All that. And so that was like the main, I guess, issue I had in Iceland. And like also just for the league in general, like they cut our season by half because they thought that like, I think a full season is like what, 22, 23 games or something like that.
Just depends on the league.
Yeah. I think that's what it was in Iceland, and we played 10.
Why?
Because they thought that 22 was too much for women. Yeah. So like that was another, thing. Yeah.
Well, I'm having a look on my face, but I'm thinking because I don't want to just dive in and be like, that's fucked up because I don't know.
Yeah.
Because that is a question. It's like, I know that men and women, our bodies are different and like we can tolerate so much, but I feel like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's an extreme.
If you're getting treatment the same, and if you're practicing the same amount, and if you're getting fed this, like, you know, healthy meals, and you are provided with resources to be healthy, then I don't see why you couldn't do the same amount of games.
Yeah, exactly.
And interesting.
It was, and I got concussed like halfway through. So
That's not fun.
No, it was so stupid. Oh my God, this girl literally cleared a ball like in my head. And I was like, whoa, what just happened? And I kept playing because I've never been concussed before.
Okay.
And so, and I like,
Not
obviously
fun.
just like in the heat of the moment, like, no, I'm fine. Like, we're good. And then like after the game, I was like, oh, I'm not okay. Like, this is not good. So
What were your symptoms after the game?
I never had a headache like I had before. Like the lights couldn't look. I couldn't see. Like I had dots in my eyes. Like I just couldn't. Any kind of light, any kind of like anything just killed my head.
Wow.
And just feeling like dizzy and achy.
Yep.
Like it just was like
Nauseous?
just off balance. Yeah, nauseous, like off balance.
Everything.
Yeah, it was not great. But yeah, so I missed 3 games because of that. So I really only got to play 7 games.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So, and like the thing is, it's like they didn't even, so we were there for like a year, maybe a little bit less. So we would have like 2-3 weeks off because we only played 10 games.
So did they spread your games out differently? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you had a game every 2 weeks?
It would be weird. We would have like
really odd.
4 games back to back, and then we'd have like a 3-week break, and then we'd have 2 games, and then it'd be like a 2-week break. Like it was very sporadic.
Weird.
Yeah, it was very weird. I didn't like it. Like obviously my coach would still train us and stuff, but like we're in the middle of season and it's been 2 weeks since we played a game.
That is
like,
really odd.
Yeah, it was very odd. And they don't do that anymore. I think they would switch back to the normal schedule. But yeah, whenever, I guess for whatever reason, when I went there, they cut the season in half, which was very odd.
That is super weird. And another question that came to mind is, whenever you got there, did you have a schedule of the season? Like, was it already set in stone, or were you getting the games, you know, week by week?
I think I did get a schedule ahead, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I didn't get one for Sweden, but for Iceland and Norway, we did get a schedule ahead.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was nice because we could plan. And I mean, it was nice when we did get 2 weeks off because on the weekends we would just travel and explore like the country and how beautiful it was. So it was really, I do like that part of it, but like I wasn't there to do that, even though I do appreciate it. Like I wanted to play 22, 24, however many games. Like I didn't want to just play 10 or however many I ended up playing.
Yeah. Because that's the caveat is like, yeah, we went there like our job is to play. Yeah. So we're expecting to do that. And it's great that you can travel. We do have that experience as well. And people back home are like, oh, it's so cool. Like your life is awesome. And you're like,
wait.
it's cool. It could be better.
You're like, wait, yeah, it's cool. Like, it's nice.
Yeah. I'm like, okay. Yeah. Really interesting. Wait, how was your living situation in Iceland?
Iceland, it was honestly really nice. They had, not really nice, but like nice.
Thinking about going to Iceland now.
Yeah. No, honestly, I like highly recommend it.
Cool.
It was nice because my roommate and I, like we were in a 2-bedroom apartment. It was beautiful. It was clean. Like I don't have any, I mean, it was small, but like.
Small to us because I feel like we're Americans and we have a lot of space.
Yes, exactly. Like I thought it was very, like I felt very safe. I felt very like taken care of. Like I had no issues with the living situation in Iceland. And even in Sweden, like we had 3 girls to 1 apartment. That place was tiny and our 3rd roommate sucked. But
Sweden, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was nice. Like it was very, very nice. It just was teeny tiny. Like we had
the room itself.
Yeah, it was like kind of like a hotel.
I think I remember seeing a picture.
Did you see a picture
from our friend? Yeah.
Yes, like it was like
it was like a bunk bed, right?
Yes, it was 4 bunk beds and like your kitchen right there,
all in one. Oh my god!
Which again, I didn't mind because it was clean and nice.
I have a question though. How do you not mind that? Because I'm just not that I need so much privacy, but I'm not trying to live in a room with 3 other people and 2 bunk beds.
Well, I think it helped because I knew the second roommate. Like we were actually good friends.
How long was his contract?
It was only 2 months.
Okay, fair.
Yeah,
that's the contract.
2 months.
All right, fine. I'd stick it out.
Yeah,
like okay.
And plus, when I first got there, like I didn't really know what to expect. It's my first time going abroad. Like I was like, maybe this is how it is. Like okay, like I think I learned from like my experience at Arizona just to like, which is a good and a bad thing. Like just not complain, just like put your head down and like deal with it. And I do think that there are good things to that, but I also think you do need to speak up in certain like scenarios, and like I didn't at certain times where I probably should have, like in my experience in Norway, like I just was like, okay, like, whatever.
Wait, and was Norway your third team? Okay.
Yeah, that's the most recent.
Interesting to hear that you said that you didn't really speak up in the last one, which is when you would have had the most experience and maybe have the most confidence. But would you mind talking about that right now?
Yeah, so in Norway, you're talking about? Yeah, when I was in Norway, so when I first got there, the house that they took me to was nice, like it was fine, but like it was kind of dirty, and like my room was like, I saw your like room in, is it Hungary?
Hungary, yeah. My shoebox.
Yeah, mine was tinier than that.
No way.
Yeah, like
you
I
touch
could
the
touch.
walls?
Yeah, like my arms could touch the walls, and then like it was a hop and a skip to the front door. Like it was just very, very tiny. I didn't have like anything to put like my clothes. I didn't have a closet. I didn't have like a dresser. Like I had nothing.
Weird.
Yeah, like I had a little lamp in the corner, and I remember talking because my other roommate, we had 3 girls in that house, and my other roommate was from America as well, but she was like, she had been in Norway for like 10 years at that time. Okay. So like she was chilling.
That's a veteran.
Yeah, so she like pretty much was considered Norwegian at that time. But cool. So she got there before me because she's been living there in Norway. She would like live 3 hours away. And like she said that my room was disgusting, like boxes everywhere from like, I guess, the landlord. Like it was not set up at all. And she's the one that cleaned it, like cleaned everything out so that I could move into it, which should not be a player's job at all. So, and then I just was so tired when I first got to Norway because it was a very quick turnaround. Like I signed the contract. I heard about the contract, discussed it with my agent, and signed the contract. And like 4 days later, it was on a plane. Like it was like very quick turnaround. Okay.
And then what year was this? 2022?
Yes. Okay. 2020. Oh, wait, was it 2021? No, 2022. Yes, 2022. Yeah. Okay. So this is April of 2022. And so I just like was so tired. And again, like I just was like, don't complain. Like just put your head down. You're here to work. Like it's fine. Like we're fine. We're not going to be in the room that much anyway. But it just was not, in my opinion, was not acceptable living space. Like even the kitchen, like it just was nasty. Wow. And so and so my roommate lived in Norway, so like on every time we had like the weekends or something, like she would just go home. So like she was never at our house because she was like, I'm not living there, like this is gross.
Oh dang.
And then like money wise, like they didn't pay me for like 5 or 6 months.
That
like,
is crazy.
I burned through all my savings. Yeah, it was just like, and the excuse was like, oh, like visas in like Europe or Scandinavia take a long time. Yeah. But like when I was in Iceland, it took about probably like 3 weeks for my stuff to go through. And like you have to get your visa, then the bank, you can get your bank account and all that stuff. Yeah. But at the time they were like providing for me for things, you know what I mean? Like they were like, Iceland was very, in that sense, very good at like making sure that we're okay. Norway was not. Like I had to
You're on your own.
You're on your own. I didn't have a car. Like Iceland, I had a car. Didn't have a car in Norway. Like didn't have any form of transportation. My house was not walkable to anywhere. Wasn't walkable to the field. Wasn't walkable to anywhere.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And so I lived in not a tiny town, but it was like a beach town. It's beautiful. But to like get your visa and all that stuff, you had to go to like the main city. It's kind of like what you would say Katy to Houston is. Like Katy is like a cute little small town, and then I guess not small, and Houston is like a big city. Like that's kind of like, I lived in this like Katy town, and then you had to go into like Houston. It was called Christensen. Yeah. To like get all your documents and all that stuff. Well, I didn't know any of this. And so I'm like trying to tell them like, hey, like when do I get paid? Like what's happening? Like I still don't have my stuff. Nobody's helping me. Again, this is the board. So like I have a problem with the board.
You've got a personal issue with the boards. You're going to sit on a board soon.
No, I actually am like, let me run this place. I'll show you how to do it.
Yeah, business. Yeah, look into your little business minds. Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah. And so yeah, that was just like a whole mess. Like they just were not helping me at all. They didn't know what to do. It just was like, so I didn't get paid for like 5 or 6 months.
That's crazy.
Which is insane.
I would have left, I think.
Yeah. Well, my roommate was like, you should leave. But for me, again, it was just like, it's okay. It's okay. Like, don't bother them. Like you're here. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're here to play. Like, don't let them distract from the team. You know what I mean? Like I just was always like conscious of like, I don't want to be a problem. Like it will be okay. I will get paid. Like it will be fine, which I eventually did, but like I had to fight for it.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. Which is insane. Yeah. And so, and just like little things, like it was very unprofessional.
Which division was this in Norway?
So there's, I don't know what it wasn't the top league. I forgot what the top league's called. Top Syrian, maybe. Okay. And then it's Division 1. So like I was in the league right below the top. But it's just very unprofessional. Like we had a field, like actually a very nice stadium, like a very, very nice field. And we had a turf field like right next to it that like you would train, like whatever, if you don't want to train in the main field. Never trained there. We would train like all around Norway, like random fields. I would get a text at like 3:00. We're training here today at 4. It's like, well, I don't have transportation. Like I don't know how to, like, luckily my teammates were nice and would like take us.
I was about to say, how did the coach expect you to get there?
He just like, good luck, pretty much. Like,
that's crazy.
Yeah. Like it was very much like best of luck, because at least that's how I felt. And like I got injured, I think it was like the second month I was there, and I partially tore my ligaments in my ankle.
Oh man.
And like, again, like my coach was like, never checked up on me. Not that I like need you to like text me.
No, but still,
like,
what?
Yeah, I had to take a cab to the doctor. Like nobody like
what?
Didn't help me get to the doctor. Had to take a cab home. Yeah, like, and like those cab rides, as you probably know, like Scandinavia especially is so expensive. Yeah. And like we did not live close to the doctor's office. Like it was in the next town over. So it's like a 30-minute cab ride just one way.
Did you book your own appointment with a doctor?
Booked my own. Actually I don't know. I think I might have. He was a team doctor, so he might have booked it.
Like you had communication with him.
I had communication with him. Like my coach didn't. Nothing. Like it was just
that's crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, very much on your own. I'm trying to think what else. Just like little things like that. And then that coach ended up leaving middle of the season, and we got a different coach who again was also terrible. And like he would like drink on like away trips, and like he's supposed to be driving us.
Oh my God.
Like it just was like not, I mean, he wasn't like hammered, but like still, like there's some of these girls are like 18, like they should not be in a car with a man that's drinking a couple beers, you know what I mean? Like also we're about to go to a game, like this is on the way to a game, just a road beer. Like that's crazy. He just was very old fashioned, very like he was a farmer, kind of that kind of thing, you know what I mean? Like, I know what you're talking about, which is fine, but I'm like, this is culture shock. Just very unprofessional. Like that's the word we're looking for here. Just very unprofessional. Oh my. And I just felt like once I got injured, it was like, please, like, okay, like you're done. Like I did not get taken care of.
What type of injury was it?
I had partially torn ligaments in my ankle.
Did you don't need a surgery for that, or you didn't?
No, I didn't need surgery, but I was out for like 2 months,
which is a long time. And how long were you there in total?
I was there from April to November. Okay. Yeah, I was supposed to be there till December, but I left because I was like, I'm not. Yeah. This is stupid. But so wow. Yeah, just not taken care of. I felt like after, like once I got injured, like the board was kind of like, oh, like should we end your contract? Like when I was like, nope, like I'm not ending my contract. Like I'm still supposed to get paid. Like. Yep, I'm still working. Yeah. I got injured here. Yeah, like I'm still I go to every game. I go to every practice. Like I'm not, but I just felt like at that point it was very much like, oh, let's try to get her, because American like contracts are very expensive. Yes. Like, they're not paying those Norwegian girls. They're paying them pennies. Yeah. And so, but legally they have to pay me a certain amount. Yes. And so it was like, they can't go below this amount. And it was like a good amount. And so I think that they wanted me out so that they could. Yeah, it would benefit them financially. It would benefit them because they always were like, we don't have enough money for this. We don't have enough money for that. Like, there's always issues with money. Always, always, always issues with money, which I don't believe, because the next season they took the whole team to Spain for pre-training camp. Interesting. I'm like, oh, but you guys don't have money. That's really interesting. But you took the whole 20-something team and coaches there. That's crazy. Yeah. So, yeah, it just was like, that was my issue. And I remember like, so when I came back from my injury, we had like 8 games left. I knew I wasn't going to start anymore. Like, it was like, that's fine, whatever. But like, I just was treated like an afterthought after that. Like, it just was, the only time that they needed me was when like players were gone. Like, we had 2 players that like couldn't make a game. And so it was like, oh, Taryn, like, we need you. It's like, oh, now we need me. You know what I mean? It was like, I understand I'm not starting. I'm not saying I should. I understand I took 2 months off, not off, but like I was out for 2 months. Yeah. Like, I get that, but like a little bit of respect and like, you know what I mean? Like, it just was kind of like, I felt like the coach and the board were treating me like poorly so that I would leave. Like, I generally felt that way. And so it just was like, I remember literally multiple girls coming up to me and like, how are you still here? Like, I was so positive during that time, even though I would literally cry like on my own, but I was like, I'm not going to let them see me break. I was happy pappy, like at every practice, tried my hardest at every practice. Like, anytime, like I would go in at like halftime during some games and like, okay, I guess we're just going to play for 40 minutes, like scored a couple goals. Great. Didn't really care. But like, I was like, I'm not going to let you like break me, or like, I'm not going to let you like change my mindset or change my personality. Like, I'm going to just deal with it. I'm going to be as positive I can be. Like, I only have 2 or 3 more months here. It's fine. I'm going to just get through it. But like, I just think Norway in that sense did not treat me well. Like, the girls were amazing. The team was amazing. It was great competition, like very high level. Yeah. It was like, it was disappointing to see girls that train so hard and try so hard to see that they think that is a normal level of like professionalism. That's what bothers me. Yeah.
That is what really compelled me to kind of make this podcast in itself so that we can talk about it, because it's not normal. And I come to realize after playing in 4 different countries that we are very privileged in America. And I know that we're paving the way for other places. And I know in England and Scotland and, you know, again, more countries, it is more developed and it's better there, but it's still not good enough. And it won't be good enough until we continue to advocate for it, because I'm gonna choke myself with this. Advocate for it. I'm so mad.
No, same.
But yeah, because that was me in Hungary. It's like I felt like I had to say something because I was looking around the room and these girls don't know better. No. And even in America, it's not perfect and it happens in other places, but you have to speak up. Yes. When you can.
Yes, and I totally agree. Yeah, that was like the saddest thing to see. It's like them thinking that that's a normal thing, or like going to different training fields at all these different times. It's like, this is not normal.
No, like, it throws you off. Yeah. And it's like, not equal treatment. And like, that's actually insane, because I don't know. I mean, you're tough first of all for sticking it out. And like, I love the mentality that you just described that you have, that they weren't going to break you. Yeah. So good on you for that. But like, I was going to ask in like a not disrespectful way, like, why did you stay? Like, because for, you know,
person, like, you can ask my family, like my boyfriend, like,
when do we get along?
Like, I am so stubborn. If I feel like this is like a certain way about something, like, there's nothing that you can do to convince me otherwise. And I think it was stubborn, like being stubborn, but also, again, just like my whole college experience, like just having to fight myself, like every time I had to fight to prove like I should be on this team, I should be playing, I should be, you know, this or that. It's like, I'm not gonna let you guys do this. Like, I'm not gonna let you guys say no to me again. Like, no, this is not happening. And I think it was just stubbornness. And then also, like, for me at that time, I was like, let's just get film, like whatever film that we have, even if it's, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes, let's just get it, because it could be great. Like, a whole film reel, a highlight reel is literally 2 minutes long. Like, if I can get that, perfect. And send it to the next team, cool. Like, that will be worth it to me. So, like, at the time, it was that. And just, like, I didn't want to let the girls down. And I did have some, like, I made really great friendships there. Like, I still keep in contact with them as well. But I think a big part of it was just, like, the stubbornness. Like, I'm not going to let you guys, like, if they would have came to me and been like, hey, like, we can't afford you, like, is there any way, you know what I mean? Like, something like that, I could be like, okay, well, let me think about it. But like, to like try to bully me out of it, I was like, no, we're not doing that. Like, hell no, I'm not doing that. So
I have to bite my tongue on that because I can relate,
Yeah.
but I am not disclosing information yet.
Yeah.
That's foreshadowing. But I really feel you on that. It's messed up. And so, okay. So yeah, dig your heels in if they're going to try and bully you out of it.
Yeah. I just was like, no, I'm not going to do this. And worst comes to worst, I'll get some film and we'll just go from there. And then I ended up not playing anyway after. But yeah, I just was like, no, we're not doing this. Like, you're not going to like,
good for you.
Make me feel weak or you know what I mean? Like make me feel weak, make me feel a certain type of way. Like I'm going to be positive. I'm just going to be like literally I would, bye coach, like wouldn't acknowledge him. Like I was always respectful. I never said anything to my coaches, but I was very much like, hi, bye. Like I'm out of sight, out of mind. I'm not going to
focus on the things you can.
Yeah. I'm going to focus on me playing right now. I'm going to focus on like doing great in practice, focus on encouraging the other girls and like especially the younger players, like, hey, by the way, this is not normal, but like this is what you should expect in a normal team setting type of thing. Like just try to guide them.
I love that. They were lucky to have you. Have a good advocate. Seriously.
Yeah. So that's awesome. That's really how it went. And then I came home and was like, it took me a while to like, I hate to say this because I don't want to make it sound so dramatic. Like people have been through way worse than that, but like, soccer was my whole life, and to come home and be like, wow, that was really like traumatic. Like I came home and I trained with like Katie and Facundo, and like I love Facundo, he's amazing.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out. But I just was like, I felt like my game was never the same after that. Like playing wise, I just was like, also like my heart was not into it anymore. Like it really took a mental toll on me where I was like, and then I tried to play in the summer and like I played 2 games and I was like, I can't do this. Like I just was like exhausted, just mentally exhausted from the experience. Like I felt like my game was off. I felt like I was a terrible soccer player. Like
I have a question.
Yeah.
First of all, how old are you?
28. 27. Sorry. No, I'm turning 28 in June, but yeah.
Soon. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I just asked because I'm 28, and then, whenever they say like your peak ages question mark, we don't really know. You can still play till you're like 34, but odds people call it a day at 31 or something.
Yeah.
I asked that because I wanted to kind of conclude on the note of like your mentality. You're already diving into it, but your mentality when you got home and how you are dealing with it or dealt with it, and then what you're doing now and how you made the decision to either continue playing or not continue playing. So go ahead and continue, but that's just where I wanted to go with that.
I came home and I took like honestly like 3 months off, like didn't train, didn't touch a soccer ball. I didn't even work out. Like I just was like, I need a break.
Yeah. Did you watch soccer or were you just, I got you.
Didn't watch soccer.
I know what you went through.
Yeah. I didn't touch soccer. I didn't look at it. Like I was like, I can't. Like I literally can't. And then I can't remember. I think, so I trained with Facundo like before I went to, was it before I went to Iceland? Yeah. Before I went to Iceland and before I went to Norway. And I think I either saw a video of him training somebody or he sent me a message. I can't remember. And so he was like, come out and train. Like, let's train you. Like, come on. Like you gotta like train again and like get back into it. And I was like, all right, like we'll see. And so I started training with him. And he is an amazing trainer, like really knows what he's doing. Just very professional, but also like very personable. Like I told him all of my problems and he like has a really great insight into all of that because he used to play soccer and he is just obviously like very well versed in that universe. So he was kind of like a safe space to like come to and like talk to about all this stuff, and again just like train, and like he really helped me build my confidence up again, because like when I first, and I'm sure he could attest to it, like when I first came back to training, it was horrendous. Like all my touches were off. My passing was off. Like I couldn't make a simple pass. Like shooting was okay. I've always been like pretty good at that, but like.
Yes, you have.
But like, I just was off, but he was so patient and was like, okay, don't worry. We got like, I trained with him twice a day, I think, or not twice a day. Sorry.
Damn, I was like 2 days.
Girl. Sorry. Twice a week. And so he'd be like, all right, like we got Wednesday, like brush it off, like come back Wednesday and just we'll restart. And so I think he really helped me with all of that and just like readjusting my mentality a little bit. And then, so I also think like my experience too, I would say like if I could tell my younger self like what to look out for, it would definitely be, in my experience, like who you choose your agent to be.
Yeah.
I don't want to say names, but
You don't have to.
This certain person, like I've had several girls tell me like, terrible, don't work with him. Like he doesn't know what he's doing. He's inappropriate, like whatever. And at the time I was like, I don't have anybody else. Like,
wait, I do have a question. What state were they in?
The girls?
No, the agent. Do you know
Wisconsin?
that? Okay.
Like some random, not Texas. I don't even know.
Do you remember the color of the logo? I'm asking because I think at one point we had the same one, if you recall.
I don't remember the logo.
Okay.
I know his name though. We'll
That was
discuss
it.
after.
Wait.
But yeah, he just like, he was inappropriate. Like he added me on Snapchat, which I think is weird.
Oh no.
He had me on,
what's wrong with people?
yeah, that's like really inappropriate, especially like a girl to like
It's a
authoritative male
correct.
figure. Like,
Yeah.
but again, like I was like, I don't want to upset him. Like, you know what I mean? Like he has my life in his hands. And so, yeah, I guess like my younger self, I would be like, you don't have to say yes to the first agent that like that contacts you, or you know what I mean? Like I felt like I didn't have any like great playing time at Arizona. I had some film in the summer, but like, wow, I'm so lucky that like he chose me to like, you know, help me out. And it's like, no, that's not how it is. You know what I mean? And so anyway, so Facundo helped me with all of that. Like I forgot how I was even correlating that. Oh, so I switched agents. Yeah. When I came home from Norway, or he kind of was my agent during Norway. Like he did more for me with the whole money situation, and like the board didn't want to pay for my flights home, which is insane. Like they're like, no, we paid for your flights here. I'm like, yeah, you got to pay for my flight home too.
The hell?
It's not a one-way
I didn't
ticket.
marry someone here. I'm not a citizen. No.
What the hell? And yeah. And so I had to fight them. Like you need to pay for my ticket home. Yeah. And so he was helping me. And at the time I was still signed with the other guy, but he was helping me more than my previous agent was helping me. Anyway, so I switched agents. He was great. And I came home and I was training with Facundo, and I was like, okay, like I don't want that to be my last soccer experience. Like I want to play one more year. I'll hang up the boots after that, like whatever. Yeah. And I had a couple of teams in Portugal, a team in Greece, like reached out that they're interested, but like the Greece team needed somebody to play in like their next game. And like, as you know, like visas are not that easy. Yeah. And then I forgot what happened with the Portugal team. I think it was like a money issue. I think that again, American contracts are very expensive, and I don't have a dual citizenship or whatever.
I was going to ask you. Yeah. You're American? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, actually, so my grandpa was my great grandpa was born in Norway. And so somebody said like that.
I think that might be too far down the line. I think a grandparent. Too. Yeah. I'm not sure. I'll fact check that.
Yeah, I don't know. I never looked into it. My dad was also born in Japan, but he's not Japanese, and I don't think they offer dual citizenship. Yeah, it's a whole other
You saw me do the math with my eyes.
It doesn't.
Okay. Yeah. I'm also going to look into that later.
Yeah. So they didn't want to pay for an American contract, which I was like, whatever. And so then April started to like, you know, come around the corner, and like my agent was really trying, but I just was like, it's not going to happen. And so I was like, you know what? I truly am like, whatever is meant to be is meant to be. Like, as you guys know, like I fly by the seat of my pants, as I said earlier. Like, if it doesn't happen, I'm not going to stress about it. And so April came around, and I was like, all right, like the portal closed. Like, I'm not going to wait till the summer. And so I just like stopped training. I just took a break from soccer, like again, completely. Like I haven't trained with Facundo in a while. Yeah. And
this was last year, right?
Mm-hmm. This was 2023 summer.
Yeah. I think I remember when we were talking about it and trying to train. And
yes. So I just stopped training. Yeah. I was like, I'm just over it. Like it's okay.
You got a job as well.
Yeah, I got a job. So summer I got a job, and I like really, really genuinely love my job. And my previous jobs were horrendous. I've also had terrible bosses before. Like this is the first job where I'm like, I genuinely love my boss. I love the coworkers I work with, and I love what I actually do. So it all ended up working out. And like now I play on like a little co-ed Sunday league. You know what I mean? So like it all works out, but it definitely was a ride for sure. And I mean, again, like I said, like I'm glad that I went through everything. It definitely like helped me grow as a person, helped me put things in perspective, helped me to deal with like adversity and all that stuff. And I think that's I have a lot of lessons that like if my children wanted follow in my footstep and play soccer and go play college and go play abroad. Like, I have so much insight to give them.
Yeah.
Like, because my parents did not have that insight. Like, they know nothing about soccer. They know nothing about sports.
Okay.
They didn't want me to go to abroad because they're very supportive and they're the best parents ever. But I think that my mom's not a huge risk taker.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
understandable.
Yeah, totally understandable. And like, when we were first born, we had like a lot of issues, and like, my mom didn't know if we were going to make it, and I think that sticks with the parent for like the rest of their life. So sending your daughter to a foreign country, you don't know anything, like, that's very scary. And so I think
big risk.
Yeah, big risk. Yeah. And so my parents and my dad like grew up very hardworking, like low class, like didn't have a lot of money. And so he like worked his way up to like his life now. And I think he's just used to like put your head down, work. And so he's not like used to like somebody going to follow your dreams and like put work on the whole. He was like, whoa, like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just, I think for both of them, it's a little scary, but they are like, we're so supportive. Once it like, was calmed down, the water has settled. They know I'm safe. It's a safe process.
Yeah.
And they're so supportive of me, what I do right now too. And they're amazing. But I think for me, like, I will have that insight to give my children, where it's like,
definitely,
I know what I've been through. I know how to handle things. I know what agents to look out for. I know what, things that some red flags that like, I was like, oh,
yeah,
you know what I mean? But
yeah.
So I look back at it as a very positive experience, even though it wasn't the most positive experience during the time. Like,
correct.
I appreciate every like difficulty and like whatever, every adverse thing that I went through. I think it made me a better person and helped me like grow into the person I am today.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And again, seriously, thank you for sharing, because I feel pretty similar about my experiences. It's like, and when you're in the thick of it, you're like, what is this for?
Yes.
What greater purpose is this for? But truly everything you're going to learn from it. And I mentioned before, I'm not a big person of regret, but I am a person of like, again, everything that I've been through made me who I am today. Mm-hmm. I am now more better equipped to help other people, or now I know better, so I don't go through the same thing again.
Yes.
And so that's why I want to be able to like talk to other people about it. But that's super cool. Yeah. I think that your experience, again, not amazing, but we've had invaluable experiences that other people haven't.
Yes.
And it's really cool. And it, of course, is helping you now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, again, it just helped me put things in perspective and just appreciate like the things in life that I feel like I would take for granted, as dramatic as that sounds. But like,
no, seriously.
You know what I mean? Like, you just, you appreciate things more, and you're like, okay, like, and I also just knowing that like, at the end of the day, you're going to be okay. Like, no matter what happens in life, like, you're going to be okay. Like, the next day is still going to rise. Like, the sun's still going to, like, come up in the morning. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I almost said it backward, but I know you're
I almost said sunset. And I was like, let me rewind in my head.
I feel you.
But, yeah, it's just, I'm appreciative of that. And again, like, helping other people, helping the young teammates. Like,
yes.
I feel like my experience can really help just other girls that want to do what we did, even like, it doesn't even have to be my own children. Like,
anyone listening,
anybody
seriously.
listening, like, if they want advice with anything, like, I'm happy to guide them and share my experience and tell them what I think, they should look into and things like that.
An idea just sparked. We need to start some sort of agency where we can help other girls and women.
Bree literally was talking about that too. Like, we were like, we should be agents, because
I've thought about it.
Yeah, because I know so many teams. I know like the process. I think you have to have a coaching license. Do you have a coaching license?
I don't know, but like some sort of agency,
some kind of license.
I know that there's some. Yeah.
Yeah,
we could figure it out.
Anyway, we should, because we would be experts.
Let's look into it. Yeah, we've been through it. I mean, what other? I mean, I know that
what could we need?
I haven't had a female agent. I don't even know of a female agent.
Either.
All right. That's what we're going to do next. So
we should.
I'm going to conclude on that note. So I want to say thank you so much, seriously, for sharing that with me. It was really good to get to know a little bit more about your experiences. Mm-hmm. And again, if you said that people could reach out, so I will tag you in our comments and everything. But thank you again. And then now I look forward to collaborating with you on business.
I know. Well, thanks for having me. I had a lot of fun talking to you and just talking about both of our experiences. And when I watched your Hungary video, and I texted you like, yeah, girl, me too. Like, I can relate to this. So
yeah.
But yeah, thanks for having me. I'm glad I could speak about it.
Of course. Thank you, Taryn.
Yeah.
Bye y'all.